bringing that good music. Yahweh International. New Foundation Production presents.
Just a little food for thought, baby. Just a little food for thought, baby. Come on. Just a little food for thought, just a little food for thought. What's up?
Yeah. Thank you. Welcome to Arkees and the Food for Thought show. Today is, I think it's 10/24/2018, October 24th. Man, I woke up today and was feeling really good, and then I saw all this stuff going on with the pipe bomb sent to President Obama, Hillary Clinton, a few other people in the Democratic Party, and I'm pretty sure the list goes on. And, you know, hate on the rise. Hate on the rise. It's all of our faults, to be honest. It really is. It's everybody on the left's fault, everybody on the right's fault, and everybody in the middle fault. It's everybody in the middle's fault because we watch it. You know, the majority of the people who are striving for America to be the best are in the middle. We see what everybody on the left is saying. We see both sides. You know, we're able to objectively look at what people are saying and get past all the politics and go, yeah, you're a little bit right and you're a little bit right. How do we solve problems? And America's been there before, where we've been able to have opinions and come to an understanding. And, you know, we're so far from that now. And then today I was watching this show called Civilization, and it said every great civilization comes and goes. And just it talked about history and a lot of the things that brought down civilizations, and how these civilizations, when they were on top, thought they weren't going nowhere. You know, you're not thinking you're going anywhere. You're like, your country, your people are going to be ruling forever, kind of thing, right? And then in the blink of an eye, you know, an emperor gets murdered or a coup or something. You never know what it is that will change the course, the direction of a country. I feel like right now we're on one of those courses. The debauchery and everything else in America is out of control. Our kids are detaching and becoming social media monsters, zombies, detaching from life, detaching from family, and all they care about is fake everything on social media. No matter how much they know the truth, they can't pull away from it. We're fighting left and right, threatening each other and talking reckless, you know, and then everybody in the middle we're tired of it and don't know what to do. And of course, everybody says, you know, vote. And that's very true. Voting is the way. The problem is both sides, both parties have a little bit of what you want. And that's the problem. I am a believer. I have a business. I'm serious about certain things with immigration, and that leads more to the right. But I'm very active with the homeless. I'm very active with people in the struggle, and that leans more to the left. You know what I'm saying? Helping others, being active. So you get stuck. But I can't compromise God. You know, look, I lived in California a long time, so I see how it goes. You know, I see where the anger comes from a lot of people from the right, because they go too far. You do too much, you know, let alone financially doing things that you can't pay for, or so much freedom that people do dumb stuff, you know, and just get out of control with it. I won't even break that down, but everybody knows, like, just like with the medical marijuana, you know, you have people in Venice, fake doctors, fake prescription. It was already getting abused. See, that's what happens on that side. People trying to do good things, but the scammers and the schemers are already ready to take advantage of the good work. And then before you know it, they get a hold of it, and then it gets out of control. And then the right goes, see, that's what happens when you try to help people. They take advantage of it. So, and of course, on the left side, they go, you know, well, look, you guys over here, y'all so racist, and you're spewing this hate, you're dividing us. And it's just ridiculous. It gets tiring. You just wake up and you go, enough is enough already. This is not rocket science. But politics is laced with lies and manipulation, and that's part of the problem. We like the theater. We want to watch and see all this buffoonery going on, and at the end of the day, that's hurting us. We've let things go too far. You know what I'm saying? America as a whole let things be just going too far with it and not seeing the best on each side. But today's show, because so much hate is going on, what I want to talk about, I want to look at it from what the right would like. And I've heard extreme versions of this, the right, the alt-right side, or, you would like to say Republican to the right, the moderates to the conservatives to the far, far right. I'm going to go to the far, far right, because these are the people that are causing the problem. These are the most extreme racist people in the party. It's not the moderates. It doesn't mean that it doesn't exist throughout the party. What I'm saying is you can't say all Republicans are bad. I know great Republicans. It just is what it is. You may not like it, but unfortunately, the Republicans tend to let people fuel the base, and fueling the base is going to promote more hate and more racism. So they're gonna say things that are very provocative to fuel up the base of voters. That's just the way it is, because if they don't, Democrats win. So, but what I want to talk about is, what if they got their way? What if the far right got their way, where the white European becomes the dominant? They're already the dominant. I don't know why they're looking into the future, and they're seeing the way things are going right now. So they're actually planning in advance. Like, if we don't do something now, we're going to lose it all in 10. You see what I'm saying? Because the rise in minorities here in America is dramatic. It's pretty significant. You've got the immigrants coming from South America. First, let me just hit on that real quick. First of all, you know why that happens? Because in their eyes, they're just taking back what was already theirs. And I'm not even going to say any more than that. Y'all know the history. You know what it is. Everybody knows. Everybody went to school. We all know how much of North America was indigenously owned by natives, and also how much of that was owned by Mexico when it became a country and war and all that stuff. So in their minds, they're like, look, we're just taking back what's already ours. I've heard tons of people say that. If you just in the right room with the right people, they're just going to tell you like it's ours anyway. You understand what I'm saying? So what they talking about? Speak English. They're not speaking our native language. This language here was, you understand what I'm saying? So I just want to hit on that real quick. So now, let's just completely forget the left. They're not even in this conversation. Hello to the right. I'm going to be speaking. I'm a black man speaking. I like to listen to what people say. When people get out of pocket with me about their views, I let them say it. I want to hear, in the midst of their anger and frustration, what they truly believe. Man, I've heard of some amazing things. Other than being a victim of racism, that's one thing. But I've always want to know the mechanism. And so first mechanism number one is you got to know this thing, that there is no middle ground in spiritual warfare. And I've talked about this before. It's either from hell or heaven. And hate and racism, bigotry, and all that stuff is a play of the devil. It's a tool of the devil. It's a demonic tool. So as we take this journey, I want to show you how the devil plays everybody. If you're a believer and you're struggling with bigotry, racism, and whatever it may be, listen to this show. It's life-changing. I'm going to help you understand how the devil sets you up. You know what I'm saying? And that goes for us too. All right. So let's just say in the next 20 years, immigration is completely under control. That the European white are back in dominance. That minorities are completely suppressed in their rights, privileges, and everything else. If they had their way, we'd be gone. Matter of fact, let's just do it. There is a exodus of minorities because now the jobs are no longer supporting immigrant labor. So there's no reason for them to be here because they can't get benefits. So now all of your South Americans are now leaving the country, which props up the European white even more so. Now you're seeing less of them and more of the traditional Americans, Spanish preferred, and do you speak Spanish in this job, and all that stuff is going away. The programs that supported immigrants, that stuff is now completely defunded. No, hey, everybody that's here now is pretty much either legally or in serious hiding. They're not hanging out at your Home Depots no more like they do in California. It is a seriously fearful time for anybody here illegally. There's no reporting of crimes or anything. They're out of sight, out of mind here working underground. So now you have increased shootings of African Americans and suppression of minorities in general. So with that happening, you're going to have people, moving to Canada or just staying in their areas. You basically you're basically going back in the time during your 50s and 60s and even before that, where being a white Caucasian you are everything. Everything on TV and radio dictates is within your flow. Radio is not even the sound. Media is not even radio, and even media is no longer the same, right? So with that, what you will see, and I hate to tell you this, it's just a fact. You may see a rise in Christianity within the country. You may see rights for abortions completely suppressed or minimized. You're going to see that God is going to be a more dominant. It's just, look, people, you may not like it. It just is what it is. I didn't say how the people were within the church. I didn't say how they're going to be acting, because how can there be a rise in Christianity and a rise in hate at the same time? Easy. If you just know the history of Christianity as a whole, that shouldn't be rocket science to you. How many things have been done in the name of Christ? So, but you will have morality will be back up. All this social media stuff will be completely suppressed. You're going to have a complete country under control, under a European mindset when it comes to, we're just specifically talking about if they had their way, right? So your kids ain't going to be out here twerking and popping and stripping and porn and all that stuff is not going to be common practice the way it is now. You're going to see a complete turnaround in what is appropriate and not appropriate by the people who don't want you here, right? So ride with me, listen to what I'm saying. So of course, as this 20-year progression happens, they're going to continue to win. You got Trump let's say Trump is the motion of that. He gets into office, he starts repealing everything. The power shift starts to happen. If Trump wins second office, that sets a precedent as far as what's true. You have minorities voting for Trump when they're really, and then saying they're not, but they like what they're seeing. Look, minorities may prosper under Trump if they are business people, entrepreneurs, family, anything to where your taxes are going to be lowered and you're going to be more prosperous. That's just the reality of what happens, let alone if you like them or not. So at the end of the day, you're going to see less minorities in politics, just working day to day, because at the end of the day, you're going to have a larger number of European white or white Americans voting than ever before. Because once they see they're taking back power, then the voting is going to just really be on. So those combinations and just continue to stack on top of each other as Republican and conservative ways take precedent. Within all of that, you can't get away from the racist right. There's no way around it, because these people are as Trump would say, my base. You know what I'm saying? Trump, I never felt was a true Republican, because he's always flip-flop. But if you have a racist mindset, then of course you're going to go to the right. He's even said that just seemed to be more where his ideologies were at. So it just made more sense, if you are pro-white. So from there, what you have is him, and then whoever follows after him continuing to push the agenda. From there, close your eyes and just imagine that. Imagine everything in your world white. Just like if I imagine everything in my world black. That's tough, because I've lived in all black neighborhoods, and that wasn't a good experience always. At different decades, that might have been a positive experience. Being in an all black situation when after slavery, when we had our own farms, own stock market, own business. I heard about the thing in Oklahoma. I was reading up on that, and sorry about that, and how they did genocide. Oklahoma, I forgot the city. It might have been Tulsa, where they basically went in and destroyed the whole entire black part of town, murdered everybody they could, destroyed all the business. There were definitely decades and periods where being black and never having to deal with white people probably was a positive thing. But as time went on, as poverty took hold, as self-hate and various things entered into black culture, we are our own worst enemies then and now. You know, we didn't learn enough. It didn't soak in with us after Martin Luther King and before that, your Malcolms and all that stuff. You know, it's taken a football player to shake some people up, and that's sad because we have all these leaders, but why did it take Kaepernick to shake us up? And I'm just digressing a little bit just to kind of get you from an all-black perspective. So the all-black perspective just really doesn't work because we're not on the same page. And until that happens, which I don't see that happening anytime soon, it's a problem. But white people have no problem getting on the same page because they push that agenda. They get it. They're the ones who came here. They're the ones that brought the slaves. They take full responsibility. They don't say it because it's not PC, but they're fully taking responsibility for, well, this is ours. We took it. Yes, we did this to the natives. Yes, we did it to the blacks. They just don't come out and, well, the rights is right says it. They don't have a problem with saying it. But it's not politically right because everything that America has become is contradictory to the truth of why Trump got into office and everything else. So, with that being the case, journey with me 20 years now, and let me tell you, listen to me. If any white people are listening to me right now, what I want to do is open up your mind. I just don't study black culture. I like all culture, black, Hispanic, Asian. If you know me, I get in there. I want to know what makes you tick, which is why I did Pangea 1 and 2. If you don't know about Pangea, go back and listen to Pangea 1 and 2, and you'll find out that, first of all, you only look the way you look because of migration. We all started from the same place. If you're a believer, that starts with Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, somewhere in Africa. We all had color. The reason you look the way you look is because of migration. Everybody, if you don't believe it, go back to school. If you don't believe it, just do your work. Stop just saying, I don't know. No. Just do a little studying. So if you're atheists, your atheists are going to say, we developed from monkeys, whatever it may be. But first man was found in not South Africa, pretty close to Africa, kind of maybe in the middle, near South Africa, well, anywhere in Africa. First signs of developed man was in South Africa within a cave. The first drawings, the oldest drawings in development of man was found in a cave in South Africa. So the reality is that's where it all comes from, right? Now I want you to take this journey with me as far as back to European, if Europeans had their way. Now check this out. Listen, all my Caucasian brothers and sisters, listen to me. So, you guys act like no one knows the history of white European. A lot of people don't. But let me give you an example. I was playing PlayStation yesterday, playing this game. And I was playing in multiplayer, which is where you play with people all over the world. And something interesting always happens. When I'm playing with some of my friends in England, my friends from Scotland won't play. Scotland, Ireland. One of them places, Scotland or Ireland, won't play if they're playing. Nah, like they'll inbox me, like they'll send me a message like, are you playing with so-and-so? I'm like, yeah. And they'll say some very derogatory things, right? I said, why? And I said, why you do that? I kind of already know, but he broke it down to me, man. He says, listen, he says, you don't know the history. Now, I kind of flash back to Braveheart and some other movies. First of all, let me school all European white people. Y'all, first of all, quit acting like you're all on the same page. You're not. We're here in America, you're faking it. And let me tell you why. How I know you're faking it. Here's what would happen. Let's just go even more crazy right. Let's just say that all minorities got so sick and tired of y'all that everybody left. I mean, everybody. The blacks moved to Canada or Alaska, where I'm from. Just whatever. Everybody out. That you completely are the dominant race in this country, right? Here's what would happen. First of all of the jobs that are exited will be, now what you have is all white people, and now hierarchy comes back in. So what white people tend to want to call white trash, which if you don't know the history of why that happened, please look up where that derogatory term comes from and how that got labeled that way. You won't even like that. But now what you have is the new minority. They'll declass you all over again. And now you are the new ends. You are the new You understand what I'm saying? Because they're no longer here. That's why there's a movie about the poor whites and the poor blacks coming together. What's his name is in it? People don't know that there was a period of time where when poor whites and poor blacks almost were actually cool. Basically felt like they were in the same class citizens. And what they did is they had to kind of the powers that be at the time had to make a change because they saw that and basically had to bring up the poor white people to be a part of the dream because they wasn't letting them be a part of the dream. But you got to know the history. Just check the history and you'll see what was going on at the time, basically how I got that way. So listen. Here's what would happen in an all-white America. And it would happen slowly, like it always does. And just base it off of history. First of all, who is white Europe? Just clarify, who are you talking about? Are you talking about English people? Are you talking about Sirs? Are you talking about Scottish? Are you talking about Irish? I got news for you. You're talking about Germans? You're not. You're not talking. All white ethnic groups are not included in that specific lane. Sorry to hate to tell you, it's just not the way it was. If you don't believe it, look how the English treat the Scots when they came over to America to do work. Just do a little history about that. You'll find out what I'm saying. So ride with me. So what would happen is all of that old history that people don't let go of. See, here in America, what makes people let go of a lot of that stuff is because we're diverse. We all kind of got to forgive each other for the things we've done. The Scots, your Italians, your blacks, your Hispanic. We all have negative history with white Europeans. It's just the way it is because of being colonized. So it doesn't matter. You got to let it go and move forward to be a diverse country. But in a situation where if it's all white people, what you'll have is because they can't help it, they cannot help it. They'll start it all over again, pushing people down and selecting who is worthy of power, of land and everything else that is America. They'll say, well, these people aren't even from here. They'll start, then the next thing you know, your white white race ain't included. It could be Irish, Scottish, Slavian, whatever it may be. You could be from Finland. You could be from whatever, but whatever it is, you're not from London. You're not from Europe. And if you don't believe that's true, just look at the history during when English was really, when they were a monarchy, pushing in on other countries. They weren't getting along over there. If you believe that everyone loved England back in them days, I got news for you. Ask anybody from another country of what was going on with England and their country back in the day, and you will find out a very brutal history around early Europe during the reign of the monarchies and stuff and whatever it may be. You're not gonna like it. We're not talking World War I. We're not talking World War II. We're talking really way back when the land grabs was going on. You don't believe it? Look, Russia just annexed a couple places not too long ago. You guys, come on. This is what would happen. White people, listen to me. Listen, look at your skin. And just forget about that. Because none of that stuff mattered. You're only that color because of migration. Okay? Just believe it. The way your skin is, the way your hair is, all of that is thousands to millions upon years of your tribe, not a nation, a tribe, living in extreme cold and harsh conditions. No different than black people's skin being dark and living in extremely hot conditions year round. It's just all it is. Eating foods, living in cold or hot climates, okay? So white people, look at your skin. Now, when you look at your skin, think about your heritage. Think about your people, which is a tribe of people. For the Jews, there's 12 tribes, right? They got 12 tribes, and those different tribes, even for them, they don't even look the way they used to look back in the day. Abraham Jews, dark skin. I'm not saying black, but definitely of color. So it's just knowing your history. Now, I have Jewish friends, and they'll be the first ones to tell you, yeah. But what happens is other cultures integrating into your culture, conquered, people trying to colonize. There's all sorts of stuff that will water you down. If you don't believe it, just ask the Latinos, ask South Americans. Why are there light-skinned South Americans? Because they were colonized. You speak Spanish because Spain came in Spanish. Brazil, they speak Portuguese. Where's Portuguese at? Okay, so ride with me. White people. So if you are Irish or Scottish or some form of white, and you are now in this 20 years from now in this new America where white people are dominant, and the ride was great until 20 years. 20 years, you start seeing that there was some kind of negative connotation and negative feeling towards your people. Like I said, it could be, you can use any of the Scots or the Irish, anybody that had a hard time when they came over because the Europeans here at the time didn't like you. And they didn't like you for clear reasons because of the history of them colonizing your people. So you honestly believe that if there's an all-white America, you're going to all get along? You got to be kidding me. Like I said, you haven't either traveled enough, you either don't know enough of your own history, because the minute you believe that that's how great nations fall. That's how great nations completely collapse, believing buffoonery. There's no way in the universe, if this was look, you can go to Europe right now. Why do you think they got borders? Because it don't make any sense. Like it's crazy to me how the most intelligent people in America want an all-white America, but it doesn't make any sense because there is a Europe with dominantly white people with borders. How do you think them borders got there? They were getting along so well. Hey, let's just put some borders. I know everybody's texting me right now because I'm pretty sure they're hearing this show and like what? Like yo, he's schooling them. Like people, I be going in. I leave you no wiggle room at all. You're gonna face it because I come with love and a level of spirituality in it because God be putting it on me. Give it to him. Arkeys, give him some food for thought. So now what you have is you make no sense because there is a Europe with dominantly white people and y'all don't get along. Russia annexing. You guys have borders. You don't like when other people cross your borders. You had free trade, but now Europe leaving the whole trade thing. They want out completely of whatever that thing is called. And people don't, and y'all really don't generally get along. I have enough friends in the world to where I know how everybody flows. You think all South Americans get along? Why do you think there's different gangs? MS-13, Mexican Mafia, and all that stuff. In general, just all South Americans get along. No. Why do you think they got borders? Borders is a way to say you don't belong in here. You stay on your side, we'll stay on our side. You got too big. You want too much. So now you're trying to tell me an all-white America is going to be great and everybody's getting along and it's going to... See, what's going to happen is it's going to feel good on the way. I mean, imagine everybody leaving and leaving you here, all white people. You just imagine that. And you feeling all good like you won, right? We won! And then 20 years, 30 years, 40 years from now, you're another race here that's white, but now they're looking at you like you're dirty, looking at you like you're not worthy, looking at you like you're not supposed to be here, because that's what would happen. And how you know that's going to happen? Because when you had your own country, they showed up and took from you then. You think nobody forgets that? They don't forget it. That's why whenever I'm trying to play my PlayStation with the homies, certain people won't play with certain people. Them feelings is right there. And then, don't even get me started on Christianity. First of all, imagine that Christianity is the dominant religion. And I mean dominant. I mean like back in the old school days. Now, you know what's going to happen then? Then you're going to be fighting about which Christianity is the right Christianity. And there's a problem all in itself. If you want to have more war, pain, and suffering, fight over religion. Oh, you don't believe me? Ask the Taliban. Ask ISIS. What do you think they're doing? See, you can't prosper with a demonic mindset. It's impossible. You think you're prospering, but what the devil does, he leads you in the direction that he wants you to go for his end game, not yours. You think you're winning, but he already knows where you're going and leads you in that direction and hopes that your pride, your ego, and your selfishness will continue to push you in this way. So he has to let you win so you embrace him. That's why hate bigotry, racism is so dangerous because it's a demonic tool. So now, you're 20, 30 years now, this is just in their way if you could have it. But see, now you've got people fighting over which Christianity is the right Christianity. That will absolutely happen because Christianity is so diverse. I know churches today, if you don't speak in tongues, you're not going to heaven. There are all these weird off-spin Christianities who, let me tell you, y'all better travel. Y'all better look. Ministry has shown me a lot. Things that I did not know about other churches, belief systems, things that ain't even in the Bible, just making up stuff. So then you have multiple issues spinning out of control in an all-white America. You're not getting along the way you thought you was because you don't like these Scots, you don't like these Irish, you don't like these Italians. We only want English Europeans. We only want or German, whatever it may be. See, this has happened over and over in history. This mindset that you guys have is nothing new. Every however many billions of years, however many generations it takes to get to this point before the epic fail, it's like the walk of shame. Like, really? You're going to go back to this again? It didn't work. It's never worked. It's never worked it's not built to work. It's not part of God's plan. It's not built to work because it's not part of humanity. It's only part of Satan's plan. It's demonic plan. It's a plan to kill, steal, and destroy. That's all it is. But you can't see it because you're buying into it. I was very narrow-minded when I was growing up. Black, white, that was it. Because of the racism that was perpetrated upon me. But as I met a Yugoslavian lady, Elia Pekic's mom, at the time I was her husband ended up letting me play basketball for boys club. That was my first real open mind moment. What happened was she used to feed. I used to pass her house and she brought me in and used to feed me her Yugoslavian food. What is this stuff? She was always cooking and stuff. And that's how I met them. They were from Yugoslavia at the time. There was a Yugoslavia. And she just taught me a lot about another country I'd never heard of. They talked with a different language, they were different. I thought all white people were the same. And that was the first time I realized all white people were not the same. They were very, very, very conservative. They just was good people. Quality. I had never met that. I had never seen it. All I've known is people who hate black people. That's all I knew. Tried to stay away from them. So as time has gone on, I continue to meet different type of white people from different countries, and it opened my mind up. I stopped being narrow and started being broad and thinking about, wow, what is this? It's humanity. It's God's plan. That's why I talked about the Tower of Babel. The understanding is that we were one people, spoke one language, and then God came down and saw what we were doing because we were in our ego and our pride, and then changed our language and scattered us throughout the earth. If you're a believer, you can't get around it. We were one people speaking one language. Everything that's different about you is part of God's doing, part of the Great Migration, part of Pangea. It's all part of that. We're humans, nothing more. We're not special because we're a different color. We're special because of where we're from. That's it. Look, if you'd seen me in Alaska that whole entire time, you would have thought I was Hispanic because I was so light. Oh my goodness. There's no sun in Alaska. You understand what I'm saying? I was watching a show about Mexico and they were talking about these statues that are some of the oldest relics from there. And they look Asian and black. They don't look like your traditional, I forgot the tribe that was there because people keep understanding that during Pangea that you could cross over. There was this fluid, the continents wasn't separated yet. So what you had is various tribes, explorers, traveling and migrating, So it's just my goal is to get you to open up your eyes, to give you some food for thought. Stop being shallow. Look at if you're white, you're listening to this day, I want you to just look at your hands and look at yourself and you have pride. But who are you? Because if you're of Scottish descent, this America that you want probably won't include you if it happened the way I'm talking about. If you're of Irish descent, it might not include you. And you know that because of the history with those countries, with England, and the good and bad of it, and every other country that got conquered, that got occupied. Everybody just do a little history. Take a pause with your views of racism, bigotry, and hate, and look at your own history. Not here in America, but before that. Your history here in America is not good. There's nothing to look at. It's just reinforcing what I'm saying. That's all it is. But what I can do, I can change the mindset of almost any white person by your own history. If you're not from Europe, if you're not from England and or Germany or one of those conquering countries, and you were conquered, just look back, do your own history, read a book. Why I gotta read a book? Why I gotta school you? Because there's no way you know your history and you're riding along with this buffoonery. It's impossible. It's impossible. It's impossible for you to be from one of these countries where these so-called European white people, you were cool with them, because I already know that's not the case. I know what a lot of these countries did. I know what England did to you and your people, and I know what y'all try to do back to get control of your people, or your country. So that's why I'm telling you, open up your eyes. Look at Satan's plan. He ain't hiding it no more. He's leading America down the path of destruction through racism, bigotry, and hate. He knows how to set it up right. So in my version, where everybody's gone but white people, that's exactly what would happen. That dominant European people will get right back to where they left off in kicking out any other whites they feel are not worthy. You become now the minorities. And you know who you are, because all you got to do is look at your history and it will tell you everything you need to know. I challenge you. Matter of fact, do your DNA. If you don't know, if you're a white person listening to this show, do your DNA. I've done mine. Check it out. Of course, Kenya, Senegal, Finland, Denmark, Pakistani, what else? Of course, Native American, a lot of European white, a good like 30. I have a lot of white in me, a high number, like a ridiculously high, more than I thought. I thought it was gonna be like lower than that, but through slavery and it is what it is. It's hard to just stand on one. I'm this. I can't say that. I'm too broken up. And so let's say you do. Let's say you've been just a white American and you do your DNA. You find out that you are 35% Scottish and 25% something else, and that actually that your European side is actually not that high. You feel uncomfortable about that because it's what's not being said to you. It's what those people really think about you. Because see, I've heard Scottish people, and I've heard literally in what I'm playing, I've heard them arguing and yelling and we're playing PlayStation. When is this appropriate? Why are we talking about this stuff while we're playing this game, right? But they're talking history and calling each other very derogatory names. I'm like, yo, time out. Can we play this game? And then, Keys, you just don't know, man. Like, even, listen to me, even within England, one of my friends I played with, he was telling me history about just within England and how people feel about other people in different provinces. This hate is real, man. It's real. Like, you get rid of one version of it, a new version moves in. That's real talk. You get rid of one version of hate, a new version just takes its place. You get rid of the color-based racism, and get rid of all that stuff, and it's just white people, then you're going to be hating a new type of hate. A new hate will come in because you're not from this country or that country. Then you finally get rid of all of that. Now you're just your people. Then it's going to be, well, I'm from this province and you're from that province. We don't know this, that, and oh my stars. It never stops. It's never going to stop. Why are people calling me during the show? I don't know. They know I'm recording right now. So we're going to pause for the cause, man. We're going to play some music. I'm going to find the right song for this moment. But I just want you to take it in, man. If you're black, if you're white, whatever race you are, I want you to think about your own racism, your own everything, and how you don't even know the real you. you're hating on yourself. Just like if it's all black people, or as black people, we all know that all Africans didn't get along. We know enough about our own history, tribal. There's movies based off of that. Different tribes getting at each other. You know what I'm saying? It's just is what it is. Wanting land and even today that same history is there. There is only one way, and that's just if you are a non-believer and you're atheist, it's the human way. Just respecting each other as human beings and color not mattering and just understanding and keeping each other safe. And if you are a believer, God's the only way. It's the Lord, the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. This is what it is, and He's going to guide you in the right direction. If you're some other religion, I'm pretty sure if you're like Buddhist or Jewish or whatever it may be, you can be Muslim, whatever it may be, you just have to find the best parts of what that is. Because it's always there. We mess up spirituality. We mess up religion because we add our own little stuff in it. We do our own interpretations to fit our needs. And that's where it goes wrong. It's your boy Keys, man. Let's play some music. Robert Fairchild Jr. in the building.
New foundation
Remix. Yeah, with everything I've been through, you held me down. You was looking for me, but I couldn't be found. But through it all, remember everything that you done for me. You the rock, you the rock, you the rock of my salvation.
Be faithful in everything you do, when you're on the front line, He relies on you, Faithfulness will erase those scars. Just trust in the Lord and break through the bars.
Robert, how many people told you that you'll never make it? But look at everything you done because you serve the Son. That's right. Everything the devil took, we're gonna take it right back. And everything the devil took, we're gonna take it right back.
Be faithful in everything you do, when you're on the front line, He relies on you, Faithfulness will erase those scars. Just trust in the Lord and break through the bars.
I believe in you. I believe in you. For your faithfulness, everything you done for me. You been my help in time of need. Lord, I believe. Yeah, Lord, I believe. Let's go.
Be faithful in everything you do, when you're on the front line, He relies on you, Faithfulness will erase those scars. Just trust in the Lord and break through the bars. Be faithful in everything you do, when you're on the front line, He relies on you, Faithfulness will erase those scars. Just trust in the Lord and break through the bars.
Faithfulness, Robert Fairchild, and your boy Keith on the vocals, man. We want to thank our sponsors, Yahweh International, New Foundation Productions. I normally hit that off right in the beginning, but I was so fired up about this show and everything that went on today with the bombings and stuff, man. I feel like God was like, no, Keith, I need you to really get somebody right now. Because I think this show is life-changing. I think if you just take it in and listen to what I'm telling you, that no matter what the devil's promising, it's a lie. That he's here to kill, steal, and destroy. And what you are all trying to get is just a trap. It's a setup. He needs you to follow it to get to the ultimate plan, which is to just make us suffer, to destroy this country. That's why people don't like talking about history, because history always shows the truth. History shows you who you were, and if you're still the same type of people, that you haven't developed. You still have the same barbaric, savage mindset. You still have that colonistic mindset. You want to colonize. You want to take what's not yours. You know, you don't want to partner. You want to enslave. You understand what I'm saying? Those are demonic mindsets. So I think God is just like, touch somebody, man. If you change one person's life, that's the beginning. Because anybody that I can touch that's on the far right, man, trust and believe. It's the same thing I do when I work with gang members. People who've killed people, sold drugs. Have you ever seen a gang member who comes to Christ? No one's more fired up than they are because they came from behind enemy lines. You understand what I'm saying? They've done the worst of the worst of the worst. So, and they believe that God's not going to love them because they've done so much. I'm like, no, just come as you are. Let him do the changing. Plus, who else is going to go back behind enemy lines to get the rest? When people see that gang members can change their lives so dramatically, how do you think it will be if somebody who was extremely racist changes their lives, gives their life to God? Well, I am a Christian. Because trust me and believe, I have met racist people that says they're Christians. It is crazy to me because they like, I hate Jews. I'm like, you do know that Jesus was a Jew. Well, that's different. No. Actually, it's not different. It's the same. So it's the hypocrisy in all of it is silly. But see, that's what narrow-mindedness does. When you have a narrow mindset towards something, then all you can see is your vision of something. You can't see outside of that. It's like when the first time I left the United States, I had a view of Japanese people and it got shattered when I went to Japan. I was like, oh my stars. I hate the media. The media is a hot mess. Don't get me started on that. Go back and listen to one of my shows. A lot of people's mindsets is based off what the media says too. So I don't have a lot of positive things to say about media. There's good media and bad, but unfortunately the bad media, which is the exploitative part of media, is what we have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. They're not they're not in the middle. They're either far left or right. They seem to be the loudest voice in the room, trying to dictate. It's just like when they always would just show black people in a certain light, but never showing the good. Like there are not black colleges with black graduates, with black doctors, black lawyers. You don't ever hear them talk about that. Though. They just want you to continue to believe that blacks, Asian, other minorities, and Hispanics are all the same way. They just perpetrate us, But they won't show you. They'll show you 1,000 migrants walking, hundreds of thousands, 7,000 migrants walking from South America to the border, but they won't show you 7,000 graduates here in America with their own businesses. Did you see what I'm saying? Like, anyway, get me started on them. Do not get me started on them, man. I'm serious about that. So this show has serious content, man, because I want people to understand what's happening. Open your eyes. The bombing stuff, it's just the devil upping the game because we are allowing him to divide us and create hate. Hate fuels hate. You understand what I'm saying? So whoever did this, he just ingested so much hate that was been projected that towards the left that he felt desperate. And when you're desperate, that's when the devil steps in the most. He tries to comfort you and make you feel like what you're doing and what you're thinking is the right thing to do. Make this pipe bomb, make these bombs, show them that you're right. You can't even hear God no more if you wouldn't even hear him at all. It is extremely dangerous for Americans, the freest country on the planet, to embrace demonic mindsets. I'm going to keep shoving this down your throat. It's not food for thought, force feeding. Or Keith, that's force feeding. That's not food for thought. True. But I love y'all, man. I love you guys. And I love you with a heart of Christ. I love you with a heart of the Almighty. And taking time to read about your culture has enlightened me. I love reading about white culture because I have white in me. You know what I'm saying? I don't like how it got there, but it's there. I like knowing my two pastors, they're from Finland, the homeless ministry, and they're great people. I like to know more about Finland and other places. I'm going to go to Senegal. I want to know what makes me me. I understand how I got here. I've done a little research about that. I understand how where I got it down to the point where most of my genes were in Virginia, offloaded during the slave trade and migrated to Louisiana. I understand exactly how that happened. I get it. But how a lot of my people stayed in that general location in northern Louisiana, Simsboro, Arcadia, Monroe, and The reality is, it's just, hey, I get it. But what I'm trying to get everybody to do, especially for this show, all white Europeans, what I'm trying to get you to do is forget all races for a minute and just look at yourselves and look down the road in an extreme way. If you got your way tomorrow, would you be welcomed in your own country of white people? Or would they be calling you trash? Or would they be calling you some other derogatory name? And I've heard them. I've heard the derogatory names that Scottish or English people, when I'm playing, say about English people and vice versa. I've heard them like, I've never even heard these terms. Like, where does this come from? It comes from back history of these countries being colonized, or not even colonized, because it really was more like a war. And then once then you annex them, and then you make them servitude countries under you, paying taxes. England making all these countries pay taxes and all sorts of other things, and just getting filthy rich off of their labor and sacrifices. And in some countries, they completely demolish your bloodline because they make all the women, all the males from your country. There's some bad history, castrations, and it's too heavy to even talk about some of the stuff I found out of how they wean out your gene line. It's disgusting. So I say that to say this: God is good and the devil is bad. It's just that simple. God's plan over Satan's plan. God over everything. Over your patriotism, over your team, whatever you do, God over everything. God doesn't like hate because he didn't create it. It was born out of Lucifer's jealousy as they got slung down out of the heavens. Look at your behavior and ask yourself every day, who created that? If you're mad, what you mad about? Who created that? It's not. Don't think of it as a person thing. Think of it as is it from God, or is it from heaven, or is it from hell? If you take that journey with me, I guarantee you growth. I guarantee it. I guarantee you growth, because I've grown just looking at it from that perspective. And it's not like you didn't know. It's not like I didn't know this 10, 15, 20 years ago, but it's a slow progression because there's so many things that interfere with your growth. It's food for thought, the food for thought of music, the food for thought of TV shows, of media, everything you feed yourself through your eyes and your ears and your mouth, all that stuff impacts your view of life. And as you eat better food in better situations, you start seeing things a little bit different. As you travel, man, will really open you up. It's your boy Keith, man. I thank you guys, man, for sitting with me through this show. I normally play more music, but right now it's real critical. Right now, you get a word, that you get a full buffet. No breakfast for you, homie. No lunch. Dinner's not enough. You need a buffet of knowledge. You need a buffet of food for thought right now. I need you to stop before this stuff goes any further. And the only way for you to do that is to challenge yourself. Sorry about that. Whatever your belief system is when it comes to other people, prove it to yourself. Don't take a narrow view. Take a wide view and prove it. Don't just say stuff because media say it, Trump say it, Obama say it. Don't do that. Look at the history and ask yourself, is what you're believing rooted in truth or propaganda? And you'll see what I'm saying. You'll see everything I'm saying is true to you. All right? Who are you? You're more than just an American. You're more than just whatever. You're a human being, and we can't live on this planet without each other. What you gonna do if tomorrow some out of the clear blue, some other unidentified people show up in a ship and say, we are taking this planet? There's tons of movies of that happening. And now we got to get together. Now we got to stop hating on each other, right? There's tons of movies showing us that. Like, we better get it together, right? We still don't get it. As a matter of fact, there's one where that happened. And after we won, we went back to our old ways, and they came back. They came right back and decimated us because we went back to our old ways, and they took advantage of that. You know, it's like a warning. Sometimes movies seem like a warning. Don't you think that? Like, you look at all these movies of when UFOs or unidentified people, whatever, from other planets show up and they want the planet, and then we've got to come together. Why they shouldn't have took all that, but even with that, some people didn't come together and then they won because we still hating. This is crazy. This is craziness. It's your boy Arquise, man. I want to thank Yahweh International, New Foundation Productions. Robert, man, appreciate you guys. Robert, you know I'm praying for you and your family. Continue to push forward, bro. Fight the good fight, man, and get better. And I appreciate anybody that listens to this show. I guarantee you, you're not going to find a radio show nowhere near as knowledgeable as mine. They're giving you that day-to-day stuff they want to talk about. I'm in the middle. I really am. But look, you can talk to me about something. I'm going to listen to you, and it's going to make sense. I believe there's truth on the right and the left, but you guys just go too far. You just get ridiculous with it. You're right about immigration, but it's just you're too far right with it. You're right about all the other. Everybody's right about everything. They're just too ridiculous with it. But what you fail to understand is there are people who take advantage of your view. Yes, do drug dealers from South America use this platform to infiltrate America? Absolutely. No different than ISIS used the big exodus from Syria. They hid within that, and then they infiltrated other countries. Don't act like that stuff don't happen. Don't act like in these caravans that people aren't carrying drugs. I'm just saying, see, that's just truth. It's just the truth of, but is everybody freaking doing it? No. Everybody in the caravan is not drug dealers. Everybody, come on now. It's just, but is it part of what's happening? Yes. Both parties are right. All right. It's your boy Arquise, man. I love y'all, man. Peace and grace to you. Until next time, it's your boy. I'm out.